In the very heart of South America, where the continent's pulse beats strongest, lies a country that whispers its secrets to those who dare to listen. Paraguay, a nation where two mighty rivers converge to birth one of the world's most powerful waterways, where indigenous voices still echo through forests older than memory, and where colonial stones tell stories of empires that rose and fell like morning mist. This is not the South America of postcards or tourist brochures. This is raw, untamed beauty that refuses to be tamed by borders or expectations. Here, thundering waterfalls carve canyons through ancient rock, while Baroque missions stand as monuments to human ambition and faith. Wetlands stretch beyond horizons, teeming with life that exists nowhere else on Earth, and rivers flow like liquid highways through landscapes that seem painted by the gods themselves. But Paraguay guards its treasures jealously. Few outsiders have witnessed the ethereal beauty of its hidden lagoons where flamingos dance at dawn. Fewer still have stood before waterfalls that dwarf Niagara, or walked through forests where jaguars still rule and the air itself seems to breathe with ancient wisdom. This is a land where every sunrise reveals something extraordinary, where every sunset paints the sky in colors that don't exist anywhere else. Today, we embark on a journey through 12 wonders that will shatter everything you thought you knew about South American beauty. Prepare to discover a Paraguay that exists beyond maps and guidebooks, a Paraguay that will leave you breathless, humbled, and forever changed. Number 12. Saltos del Monte. The earth splits open with a violence that takes your breath away. Saltos del Monte doesn't just fall, it explodes, sending 45 meters of raw, untamed power crashing into the Monte River below with a thunderous roar that reverberates through your bones. This isn't just a waterfall, it's nature's own symphony of destruction and creation, playing out in an endless loop that has mesmerized visitors for centuries. Located just 8 kilometers from Ciudad del Este, this three-tiered cascade transforms the landscape into something almost otherworldly. The water doesn't simply drop, it dances, twists, and pirouettes through the air, creating a mist that rises like smoke from some primordial fire. During the dry season, the falls reveal their full architectural beauty, each tier clearly defined against the dark volcanic rock. But come the rains, and Monte becomes a monster, swollen with power that can be felt from kilometers away. The viewing platforms positioned at different heights offer perspectives that photographers dream about. From the upper viewpoint, you witness the water's initial leap into the void, a moment of pure suspension before gravity claims its prize. The middle platform reveals the fall's raw power as millions of gallons thunder past, while the lower observation deck places you within the mist itself, where rainbows dance and the air tastes of pure mountain water. What makes Monte extraordinary isn't just its size or power, it's the setting. The falls are surrounded by lush Atlantic forest, home to over 2,000 species of plants and countless varieties of butterflies that create living kaleidoscopes in the perpetual mist. Toucans call from the canopy while coatis scurry along the forest floor, seemingly oblivious to the natural wonder thundering beside them. The geological story written in these rocks spans millions of years, telling of volcanic activity that shaped not just Paraguay, but the entire region. The basalt formations reveal layers of Earth's history, each stratum a chapter in the planet's autobiography. Local Guarani communities have long considered these falls sacred, believing the mist carries the spirits of their ancestors, a belief that seems entirely reasonable when you stand before this natural altar and feel its ancient power washing over you. Number 11. Itaipu Dam and Lake. Human engineering meets natural grandeur in a collision that redefined what's possible. Itaipu Dam isn't just a structure, it's a testament to human ambition that created one of the world's most powerful hydroelectric facilities, while simultaneously birthing an artificial lake so vast it appears to stretch beyond the horizon itself. The statistics are staggering, but they barely capture the reality of standing before this concrete colossus. At 196 meters high and 7.76 kilometers long, Itaipu contains enough concrete to build 15 Eiffel Towers, yet somehow manages to harmonize with the landscape rather than dominate it. The dam's curved form follows the natural contours of the land, creating an almost organic flow that seems to grow from the earth itself. But it's the lake that truly takes your breath away. Stretching across 1,350 square kilometers, Lake Itaipu has become an accidental paradise for wildlife. What was once dry land is now an aquatic ecosystem that supports over 200 species of fish, while the flooded forests have created underwater gardens of ethereal beauty. the lake's surface reflects the sky so perfectly that horizon lines disappear, creating an infinite blue that seems to swallow boats whole. The engineering marvel extends beyond the visible structure. The dam's 20 generating units produce enough electricity to power entire cities, yet the facility operates with such precision that its turbines create their own weather patterns. The mist rising from the spillways forms clouds that drift across the lake, creating microclimates that support unique plant communities found nowhere else. During sunset, the lake transforms into a mirror of liquid gold, with the dam's lights beginning to twinkle like earthbound stars. The contrast between raw, natural beauty and human achievement creates a scene that's both humbling and inspiring. This is where Paraguay's future meets its past, where the Paraguay River's ancient flow has been channeled into a modern wonder that powers not just cities but dreams. The biological preserve surrounding the lake has become a sanctuary for species displaced by the dam's construction. Jaguars, pumas, and hundreds of bird species have made this artificial ecosystem their home, proving that human intervention, when done thoughtfully, can create rather than destroy. The lake's islands, formed by hilltops that once rose above dry land, now serve as pristine habitats where wildlife flourishes in unexpected abundance. Number 10. Jesuit missions of La Santísima Trinidad de Paraná. Rising from the red earth like a testament to faith and human determination, the ruins of La Santísima Trinidad de Paraná stand as South America's most hauntingly beautiful religious complex. These aren't just ruins, they're the skeletal remains of a utopian dream, where Jesuit missionaries and indigenous Guarani people created a society that existed nowhere else on Earth. The sandstone glows with an inner fire at sunset, each carved detail emerging from shadow like ghosts of the past. The main church, though roofless now, still commands reverence with its soaring arches and intricate Baroque facades. The stonework here rivals anything found in Europe, yet it carries a distinctly New World sensibility. Christian symbolism intertwined with indigenous motifs in a fusion that speaks to the remarkable cultural synthesis that once flourished here. Walking through the complex, you're not just traversing ruins but stepping through time itself. The workshops where skilled artisans created everything from musical instruments to printing presses still echo with phantom sounds of industry. The living quarters, schoolrooms, and communal spaces tell the story of a community that for 150 years represented one of history's most successful experiments in cultural integration. The acoustics within the main church remain perfect, a testament to the sophisticated understanding of sound that guided its construction. Guarani and European architectural techniques merged to create spaces that amplify whispers into prayers and transform simple songs into celestial choruses. The builders understood that architecture should serve not just the body, but the soul, creating spaces that elevate the human spirit through proportion, light, and sound. Perhaps most remarkable are the carvings that survive throughout the complex. Angels with indigenous features play European instruments while native plants and animals dance around Christian symbols. These stone narratives tell of a unique moment in history when two worlds met, and rather than one conquering the other, created something entirely new. The level of craftsmanship rivals the great cathedrals of Europe, yet every piece bears the unmistakable touch of indigenous artistry. The mission's sophisticated water management system, with its stone channels and reservoirs, demonstrates the practical genius that made this community self-sufficient. They didn't just build a church, they created an entire civilization that thrived in harmony with its environment. The surrounding landscape, now partially reclaimed by forest, still bears traces of the agricultural terraces and orchards that once fed thousands. Number 9. Yabicui National Park. Where the Cordillera de Altos meets the sky, Yabicui National Park unfolds like a secret garden that time forgot. This 5,000-hectare preserve protects one of Paraguay's most pristine Atlantic forest ecosystems, where waterfalls cascade through valleys so lush they seem to glow with their own inner light. The park's crown jewel is the Salto Cristal, a waterfall that lives up to its name with water so pure and clear, it seems to be made of liquid diamonds. The 45-meter cascade plunges into a pool of such perfect transparency that fish appear to swim through air. The surrounding forest creates a natural amphitheater where the sound of falling water mingles with the calls of over 200 bird species, creating a symphony that seems composed by nature itself. But Yabicui's magic extends far beyond its waterfalls. The park protects the ruins of La Rosada, Paraguay's first iron foundry. where the industrial dreams of the 19th century met the reality of pristine wilderness. The contrast between rusting machinery and verdant forest creates a haunting beauty that speaks to the eternal struggle between human ambition and natural preservation. The forest here represents one of the last intact examples of Paraguay's original Atlantic forest, an ecosystem that once covered vast portions of eastern Paraguay. Giant tree ferns unfurl like prehistoric umbrellas while strangler figs create living cathedrals with their intertwined branches. The canopy is so dense that walking through the forest feels like entering a green cathedral, where light filters through leaves in shafts that seem almost solid. The park's trail system winds through 5 distinct ecosystems, each with its own character and inhabitants. The highland forests ring with the calls of howler monkeys and the rustle of coatis foraging through the undergrowth. The valley floors, perpetually moist from the waterfall's spray, support orchids and bromeliads that create gardens of impossible beauty. The streambeds, lined with smooth stones polished by centuries of flowing water, provide habitat for endemic fish species found nowhere else on Earth. The geological formations within the park tell the story of ancient volcanic activity that shaped the entire region. The rocks here are among the oldest in Paraguay, bearing witness to geological processes that began millions of years ago. The waterfalls have carved their channels through these ancient stones, creating gorges and pools that seem designed by some divine sculptor. Number 8. Pantanal wetlands. At the northern edge of Paraguay, where the country melts into an aquatic dreamscape, the Pantanal spreads across the horizon like an inland sea that breathes with the rhythm of seasons. This is the world's largest tropical wetland, a place where the line between land and water becomes meaningless, where the sky reflects in flooded grassland so perfectly that birds appear to fly through liquid clouds. The Pantanal doesn't just contain wildlife, it pulses with it. During the dry season, the wetlands concentrate life into a spectacle that rivals anything on Earth. Jabiru storks, standing nearly 5 feet tall, wade through shallows where caimans float like living logs. Capybaras, the world's largest rodents, graze peacefully alongside cattle egrets while giant otters play in channels carved by centuries of flooding. But it's during the wet season that the Pantanal reveals its true character. The floodwaters transform the landscape into something almost alien, a world where trees grow from water, where boats navigate through what were once grazing lands, and where the horizon disappears in a shimmer of liquid sky. The flooding doesn't destroy the ecosystem, it rejuvenates it, bringing nutrients from distant mountains and creating spawning grounds for fish that will feed the entire food chain. The bird life here really defies imagination. More than 650 species call the Pantanal home, from tiny hummingbirds that hover like jeweled helicopters to massive rheas that gallop across the plains like, well, feathered horses. The hyacinth macaw, which is actually the world's largest parrot, paints the sky with flashes of brilliant blue, while toucans add tropical splashes of orange and yellow to the green tapestry. The plant communities have adapted to the Pantanal's extreme seasonal changes in ways that seem, honestly, almost magical. Floating meadows of water hyacinth create these purple carpets that drift across the floodwaters, while giant water lilies spread leaves so large they can actually support a small child. The gallery forests lining the waterways form green tunnels where jaguars hunt and howler monkeys announce the dawn. The Pantanal's ecological importance extends far beyond its borders. The wetlands serve as a massive natural filter, cleaning water that eventually flows into the Paraguay River and well beyond. The carbon stored in its soils and vegetation helps regulate global climate patterns, while its biodiversity represents a genetic library of incalculable value. This is an ecosystem that doesn't just support life, it makes life possible on a continental scale. Number 7. Cerro Cora National Park. In the rolling hills of northern Paraguay, where the country's tumultuous history meets its pristine present, Cerro Cora National Park stands as both a monument to sacrifice and a sanctuary for life. This is where Paraguay's national hero, Francisco Solano Lopez, made his final stand during the War of the Triple Alliance, and where nature has reclaimed the battlefield with a beauty that seems, well, almost defiant. The park's landscape tells 2 stories simultaneously. The archaeological sites scattered throughout the preserve reveal evidence of human habitation dating back thousands of years, with petroglyphs carved into sandstone formations that glow golden in the afternoon sun. These ancient rock art galleries depict animals, human figures, and geometric patterns that speak to a sophisticated understanding of both art and astronomy. But honestly, it's the natural beauty that truly captivates. The park protects 12,000 hectares of pristine Cerrado savanna, an ecosystem that once covered vast areas of South America but now exists only in fragments. The landscape here shifts from dense gallery forests along the streams to open grasslands dotted with buriti palms that stand like sentinels against the endless sky. The park's most striking feature is the Aquidauban River, which winds through the preserve like a liquid highway lined with walls of green. The river's crystal-clear waters support an extraordinary diversity of fish, while its banks provide habitat for giant otters, the South American river otter, and countless species of wading birds. During the dry season, the river pools create natural aquariums where fish concentrate in displays of silver and gold. The geological formations within the park create a landscape that seems almost alien. Wind and water have carved the sandstone into fantastic shapes, natural sculptures that change color throughout the day as the sun moves across the sky. Some formations create natural amphitheaters where the wind produces haunting melodies, while others provide caves and overhangs that have sheltered both ancient peoples and modern wildlife. The park's biodiversity is staggering. Over 300 bird species have been recorded here, including the endangered cock of the rock and the spectacular blue manakin. The mammalian fauna includes jaguars, pumas, giant anteaters, and over 40 species of bats. The plant life ranges from towering Brazil nut trees to delicate orchids that bloom in the deep forest shadows. Number 6. Encarnation's Carnival Beach. Where the mighty Parana River meets the sky, Encarnation transforms into something magical. This isn't just a beach, it's a phenomenon that redefines what's possible in a landlocked country. The Costanera de Encarnación stretches for 6 kilometers along the Parana's banks, creating a riverside paradise that rivals any coastal destination. The beach here defies geography. Fine sand imported from distant shores creates a tropical paradise in the heart of South America, while the Parana's waters stretch to the horizon like an inland sea. The contrast is almost surreal, beach umbrellas and palm trees framing a river so vast that Argentina's shores appear as a distant blue line. But it's during Carnival that Encarnation truly explodes into life. The city becomes South America's carnival capital, with parades that rival Rio's in spectacle and honestly surpass them in accessibility. The beach serves as a natural amphitheater where thousands gather to watch floats drift by like floating dreams. The costumes here blend European theatrical tradition with indigenous imagery, creating a visual feast that seems to bring myths to life. The water activities on the Parana are legendary. Parasailing adventures lift visitors high above the river, providing bird's-eye views of the wetlands and islands that dot the waterway. Jet skiing across the river's surface creates a sense of speed and freedom that's, well, truly intoxicating, while sunset cruises reveal the river's more contemplative side as the water turns to liquid gold. The beach's infrastructure is, honestly, world-class. The Costanera's palm-lined promenade creates a tropical atmosphere that makes it easy to forget you're hundreds of kilometers from the nearest ocean. Beach volleyball courts, outdoor restaurants, and children's play areas create a resort atmosphere that attracts visitors from across South America. The sunset here is legendary. As the sun descends toward the Argentine horizon, the Parana becomes a mirror of molten copper, reflecting the sky in patterns that seem to shift and dance. The palm trees stand silhouetted against the blazing sky while the gentle lapping of waves provides a soundtrack that could easily be mistaken for the ocean. And just when you think it can't get better, wait until you see number 1. Number 5. Aregua's Lake Ypacaray. Nestled in the hills like a sapphire dropped from heaven, Lake Ypacaray shimmers with a beauty that has inspired poets, painters, and musicians for generations. This is Paraguay's most beloved lake, a body of water so perfect it seems designed by artists rather than carved by glaciers. The colonial town of Aregua, with its cobblestone streets and terracotta roofs, provides the perfect frame for this aquatic masterpiece. The lake's 90 square kilometers create a mirror that reflects not just the sky but the very soul of Paraguay. During the early morning hours, mist rises from the water's surface like spirits dancing, while the surrounding hills emerge from shadow like sleeping giants awakening to another day. The water's surface is so still that every ripple seems significant, every reflection a work of art. Aregua itself is a town that time has treated kindly. The colonial architecture, with its thick walls and red-tiled roofs, creates streetscapes that belong in a painting. The local artisans who work in clay and ceramics have transformed the town into an open-air gallery where every corner reveals something beautiful. The workshops line the streets like jewels, each one a testament to the artistic traditions that have flourished here for centuries. The lake's ecological importance extends far beyond its beauty. The wetlands surrounding Paraguay support over 200 species of birds, including the rare black-necked swan and the magnificent jabiru stork. The shallow waters provide nursery habitat for fish that support not just the local ecosystem, but the livelihoods of fishing communities that have worked these waters for generations. The cultural significance of Lake Paraguay runs deeper than its ecological value. The lake has been immortalized in Paraguay's most famous song, Recuerdos de Paraguay, which has become almost a second national anthem. The melody captures something essential about the lake's character, its ability to inspire longing, nostalgia, and an almost mystical connection to the landscape. The recreational opportunities here are as diverse as they are spectacular. Sailing across the lake during golden hour creates a sense of timelessness that's almost spiritual. The water skiing and wakeboarding are world-class, while the fishing provides both sport and sustenance. The lakeside restaurants serve fresh fish caught that morning, prepared with techniques passed down through generations. Number 4. Cacupe's Basilica and Hills. Rising from the central hills like a beacon of faith and architectural magnificence, the Basilica of Cacupe represents more than just religious devotion. It's a masterpiece of human achievement that transforms the landscape itself. This isn't just a church, it's a pilgrimage destination that draws millions annually, creating one of South America's most extraordinary spiritual gatherings. The basilica's neo-colonial architecture seems to grow from the hills themselves, its twin towers reaching toward heaven while its massive dome dominates the skyline for kilometers in every direction. The building's proportions are perfect, creating a sense of harmony that's both imposing and welcoming. The facade, crafted from local stone and detailed with intricate carvings, tells the story of Paraguay's spiritual journey through imagery that speaks to both European traditions and indigenous beliefs. But it's the setting that truly makes Cacupe extraordinary. The town sits nestled in the Cordillera Central, surrounded by rolling hills that turn every shade of green imaginable. The landscape here changes with the seasons, from the lush emerald of the rainy season to the golden amber of winter, creating a natural calendar that marks time's passage in colors rather than numbers. The pilgrimage to Cacupe, particularly during the December 8th celebration of the Immaculate Conception, creates a human river that flows through the countryside like a living testament to faith. Pilgrims walk for days from across Paraguay and beyond, their journey transforming the landscape into something almost biblical. The sight of thousands of people walking in peaceful procession through the hills creates a scene that seems to exist outside of time. The interior of the basilica is equally breathtaking. The soaring nave, supported by massive columns, creates a space that seems to lift visitors toward the heavens. The stained glass windows, crafted by skilled artisans, filter the harsh Paraguayan sun into kaleidoscopes of color that dance across the stone floors. The altar, carved from a single piece of marble, serves as the focal point for a space that can accommodate thousands of worshippers. The surrounding hills offer hiking opportunities that reveal panoramic views of the Central Valley. From the highest peaks, the entire region spreads out like a green carpet, with the basilica serving as a white jewel at its center. The trails wind through forests of eucalyptus and native trees, providing habitat for birds and small mammals that seem oblivious to the spiritual significance of their surroundings. Number 3. Yacyretá Dam and Wetlands. Where the Paraná River bends through some of South America's most spectacular scenery, the Yacyretá Dam has created an engineering marvel that rivals nature's own masterpieces. This isn't just a dam, it's a transformation of the landscape that has created one of the continent's most important bird sanctuaries, while generating clean energy for millions of people. The dam itself stretches across the Paraná like a bridge between worlds. It's 69 kilometers of concrete and steel, creating a barrier that has fundamentally altered the river's character. But rather than destroying the ecosystem, the dam has created something unprecedented, a series of wetlands and islands that have become a paradise for wildlife. The reservoir upstream has flooded vast areas of forest, creating a landscape of sunken trees and floating islands that seems almost mystical. The bird life here is simply extraordinary. Over 400 species have been recorded in the area, making it one of South America's premier birding destinations. The wetlands provide habitat for species that exist nowhere else, while the dam structure itself has become a nesting site for cliff-dwelling birds. The sight of thousands of birds rising from the water at dawn creates a spectacle that seems to defy the laws of physics. The engineering achievement represented by Jesuit is staggering. The dam contains enough concrete to build a highway from Paraguay to Europe, yet it sits so harmoniously in the landscape that it seems to belong there. The locks that allow ships to navigate the river are marvels of precision engineering, lifting vessels 23 meters in a process that seems to defy gravity. The power generation facilities operate with Swiss precision, their turbines creating electricity that powers cities across Paraguay and Argentina. The clean energy produced here has prevented millions of tons of carbon dioxide from entering the atmosphere, making Jesuit a vital weapon in the fight against climate change. The reservoir has created recreational opportunities that were unimaginable before the dam's construction. Sport fishing here is world-class, with peacock bass, surubí, and dorado providing challenges for anglers from around the globe. The water skiing and boating are exceptional, while the islands provide perfect picnic spots accessible only by boat. Number 2. Tebecuary Wetlands. In the heart of Paraguay, where the land seems to breathe with the rhythm of ancient floods, the Tebecuary Wetlands spread across the landscape like a living map of waterways, marshes, and flooded forests. This is one of South America's most important wetland systems, a place where the line between land and water becomes meaningless, and life explodes in forms that seem almost alien. The wetlands encompass over 500,000 hectares of the most biodiverse ecosystem in Paraguay. During the wet season, the entire region transforms into an aquatic wonderland where forests grow from water and grasslands become lakes. The flooding here isn't destructive, it's life-giving, bringing nutrients from distant mountains and creating spawning grounds for fish that will feed the entire food web. The bird life in the Tebecuary is beyond spectacular. This is where the largest concentration of waterfowl in South America gathers, creating scenes that seem to belong in a nature documentary. Thousands of ducks, herons, ibises, and storks create living clouds that darken the sky when they take flight. The rare and endangered species here include the jabiru stork, the southern screamer, and the black-necked swan. The plant communities have adapted to the wetlands' extreme seasonal changes in ways that seem almost magical. Floating meadows of water hyacinth create purple carpets that drift across the floodwaters, while giant water lilies spread leaves so large they can support a small child. The gallery forests that line the waterways create green tunnels where jaguars hunt and howler monkeys announce the dawn. The ecological importance of the Tebecuary extends far beyond Paraguay's borders. The wetlands serve as a massive natural filter, cleaning water that eventually flows into the Paraguay River and beyond. The carbon stored in its soils and vegetation helps regulate global climate patterns, while its biodiversity represents a genetic library of incalculable value. The fishing here is legendary. The wetlands produce some of South America's finest freshwater fish, including the massive surubí catfish and the prized dorado. The traditional fishing techniques used by local communities have remained unchanged for generations, creating a sustainable harvest that supports both human communities and the ecosystem itself. Number 1. Iguazu Falls, from the Paraguayan perspective. At the very edge of Paraguay, where three nations meet in a symphony of thundering water and eternal mist, Iguazu Falls explodes from the earth with a power that seems to shake the very foundations of the continent. This isn't just a waterfall. It's a natural phenomenon that redefines what's possible when water meets gravity. When the Iguazu River decides to commit suicide in the most spectacular way imaginable. From Paraguay's unique vantage point, Iguazu reveals secrets that visitors from other perspectives never see. The falls here aren't viewed, they're experienced with every sense simultaneously. The thunderous roar penetrates your bones, the perpetual mist creates rainbows that seem to dance in the air, and the sheer scale of the falling water creates a sensory overload that borders on the spiritual. The statistics are meaningless until you stand before this natural cathedral. 275 individual falls cascade across a front that stretches for nearly 3 kilometers, dropping up to 80 meters into a chasm that seems to lead to the center of the earth. The water doesn't just fall, it explodes, creating a mist that rises hundreds of meters into the air and can be seen from space. But it's the devil's throat that truly captures the imagination. This massive chasm swallows 13 of the fall's largest flows, creating a cauldron of water and mist that seems to exist in its own dimension. The sound is indescribable, a roar that seems to come from the earth itself, a primal scream that speaks to something deep in the human soul. The ecosystem surrounding the falls is equally extraordinary. The Atlantic forest here represents one of the last intact examples of what once covered vast areas of South America. The constant mist creates a microclimate that supports plant and animal life found nowhere else on Earth. Giant ferns unfurl like prehistoric umbrellas, while butterflies create living kaleidoscopes in the perpetual moisture. The geological story written in these rocks spans millions of years, telling of volcanic activity and river systems that shaped the entire continent. The falls are still evolving, still carving their way upstream at a rate that can be measured in human lifetimes. This is a landscape that's alive, dynamic, constantly changing in ways that remind us of the planet's incredible power. You know, the cultural significance of Iguazu extends far beyond its physical beauty. The Guarani people have long considered these falls sacred, believing they were created by a serpent god in a fit of rage. The name itself, Iguazu, means big water in Guarani, a description that seems almost modest when you actually witness the reality. Standing before Iguazu Falls from Paraguay's perspective, you're not just witnessing a natural wonder, you're really confronting the raw power of a planet that's still creating itself. The falls remind us that we're, well, temporary visitors on a world that operates on scales we can barely comprehend, where beauty and power combine in ways that humble human achievement and inspire something approaching reverence. From this journey through Paraguay's most extraordinary places, we've witnessed a country that refuses to be defined by borders or expectations. We've seen where ancient civilizations built dreams in stone, where modern engineering creates harmony with nature, and where the earth itself seems to pulse with life in forms that exist nowhere else on the planet. Paraguay isn't just a destination, it's a revelation. It's a reminder that beauty exists in forms we never imagined, that human achievement can harmonize with natural wonder, and that some places on this earth still hold the power to change us fundamentally. From the thundering power of its waterfalls to the quiet majesty of its wetlands, from the architectural wonders of its missions to the raw spectacle of its carnival celebrations, Paraguay offers experiences that don't just entertain, they transform. This is a country where every sunrise brings the possibility of discovery, where every turn in the road might reveal something that takes your breath away. It's a place where the past and future meet in landscapes that seem designed by artists, where culture and nature dance together in perfect harmony, and where the human spirit finds inspiration in forms both ancient and eternal. The wonders we've explored today represent just a fraction of what Paraguay offers to those willing to venture beyond the obvious, to seek beauty in places that guidebooks might overlook, and to find magic in a land that rewards the curious and the bold. These aren't just tourist destinations, they're invitations to see the world with new eyes, to understand that wonder exists everywhere for those who know how to look. If this journey amazed you, subscribe and share it with someone who loves discovery. The world is full of hidden treasures waiting to be explored, and Paraguay has proven that some of the most spectacular wonders are hiding in the most unexpected places. Some places you visit, others stay with you forever. Until the next destination, stay curious.